Thanks. You know, one of the things you got to get used to in the environmental community is to expect the unexpected. Now, you all were expecting the governor to come up here, and he's coming. But just to keep you on your toes, we're rearranging the program a little bit. So I'm here to talk to you about one of the environmental community's priorities this year, and that is the Pesticide Information Act. So I'm a lifelong Marylander. My name is Chris Trumbauer. I'm the West Rhode Riverkeeper, and I can tell you this about Marylanders. We like to know what's going on. We like to be kept informed. Am I right? Yeah, see some nodding heads. Whether it's the projected snowfall total for an incoming storm or an analysis of Joe Flacco's completion percentage, Marylanders demand information. We've seen it with the popular state stat and Bay stat programs that Governor O'Malley has created, making transparency a hallmark of the current administration. Marylanders demand information, and our leaders should do their best to supply it to them. And so it is with pesticides. Pesticides, by their very nature, kill living things. They are designed to effectively achieve that goal. They are the very basis for the silence in Silent Spring, Rachel Carson's call to arms, and the spark which ignited the modern environmental movement. Certainly, pesticides have a role in agriculture, horticulture, and landscaping, but we must be cautious with how these chemicals are applied. Emerging research continues to suggest links between toxic pesticides in our waterways and human health. Exposure to pesticides are linked to many chronic illnesses, including asthma, autism, ADHD, cancer, and Parkinson's disease. Pesticide exposure has also been linked to birth defects and fertility problems. Children are especially susceptible. A growing body of scientific research suggests children's neurological, respiratory, and immune systems can be affected by pesticides even at low exposure levels. In fact, last November, the American Academy of Pediatrics issued its first policy statement aimed at minimizing pesticide exposure in children. In addition to the human health effects, endocrine-disrupting pesticides such as atrazine are linked to intersex fish in our rivers. Now, not only is this bad for the fish, but it's also bad news for those of us that enjoy a nice fish dinner every once in a while. These compounds can accumulate in our bodies too. A recent federal report about toxics in the Bay concludes that we have serious data gaps when it comes to pesticide information. And the very public health officials responsible for protecting us are denied basic information about when and where dangerous pesticides are used. We need to take action. In Anne Arundel County, where I'm privileged to serve on the county council, I authored and passed unanimously a bill which required our county to use integrated pest management on our county parkland and athletic fields. This is not a pesticides ban, but rather a formal policy to ensure that pesticides are used as a matter of last resort, when no other means will do. The legislation also puts forth a preference for least toxic alternatives. This is a measured approach, a smart approach, and that's what we need to do here, be smart on pesticides. And so we introduce to you, the state's environmental community and all Marylanders, the Smart on Pesticides campaign for safe water and healthy kids. We're asking the General Assembly to be smart on pesticides this session. We're asking them to pass the Pesticides Information Act, sponsored by Delegate Steve Lafferty and Senator Roger Manno in the Senate. This bill will create a simple, cost-neutral, centralized online reporting database housed at the Maryland Department of Agriculture. This database would allow public health officials and other researchers to study pesticide usage scientifically. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Chris, how can this be cost neutral? Well, here's how. Chemical manufacturers like Dow, Monsanto, and Bayer, they already have to pay existing registration fees to use their products in Maryland. But Maryland's fees are among the lowest around, lower than surrounding states like Pennsylvania, Virginia, and West Virginia. This online database would be funded by a modest increase in these fees, which would just make Maryland comparable to our surrounding states. Now you're wondering who this applies to. I can see it in your eyes. You're wondering if you're going to have to report that bag of Weed Begone you got at the local hardware store. The answer is no. This bill would require dealers of restricted use pesticides, certified pesticide applicators, and farmers who are recognized by the state as private applicators to report their usage. Homeowners are not included. The cumulative impact of pesticide usage in Maryland must be studied. What do you all think? Is it time for pesticide stat? Public health officials think so. We have a list of 100 doctors, nurses, and other health experts, including my kid's pediatrician, who have endorsed the need for this bill. Environmentalists think so. This bill is one of 4 top-tier priorities for this General Assembly session. Regular Marylanders think so. A recent statewide telephone poll of 800 Marylanders found that 83% of those surveyed were concerned about pesticides. 82% of people favored requiring farmers and lawn care companies to provide pesticide information, and 70% supported raising fees on the chemical manufacturing companies. This support crossed all political lines, party affiliation, gender, geography, ethnicity, you name it. Marylanders support this concept and they support this bill. How about you? Will you join us? Get more information at smartpesticides.org. Making basic pesticide reporting information available to environmental and public health officials and research scientists is good government. Let's be smart on pesticides in 2013. Thank you.